When you think about, what Sonny has been in this league, it's a guy who's pitched at the front of rotations, and, those things that we think pitchers carry from year to year, things like strikeout rates and walk rates and ability to, to stay off barrels. He excels there. So we're really excited about adding a guy that, is coming off back-to-back 200 strikeout seasons and, shouldering significant workload.
Oh, Craig, I slept so good last night. Sonny Gray, welcome to Boston. You're going to love it here, Sonny. Just ask the War Pig. He loves it here, too. Little War Pig action with Sonny Gray. That's a 1-2 punch right there. We'll talk to the godfather of baseball himself, Lou Merloni, about this all show long.
I'm sure he's going to have a sunny disposition, right?
Yeah,
you see more bad puns on the way. But here's what's also coming up. Jon Lyons, WEEI, is going to stop by not only to talk about the Patriots, but we have not one, not two, 3 Thanksgiving football games to look forward to tomorrow. Full previews on the way. Stay with us. Boston has entered the chat. Begins right now.
Let's go, Sox!
Come on! Woo! Idiots.
Now
Just total
Those
idiots.
are wild and crazy guys.
Yeah, this is how you know we're on Thanksgiving Eve. Welcome in. Boston has entered the chat. Yes, and Nation and the Red Sox. Sonny to the Sox.
All right.
Welcome to Boston, Sonny Gray, the 3-time All-Star, the 13-year vet. He's been in the Cy Young conversation multiple times.
Yep.
And no surprise, you got some reaction on social media. Sonny Gray to the Red Sox?
Huh?
This could be the boost our rotation needs. Peyton Tolley, Connolly Early, they are offended. Rob Kelly says, Sonny Gray struggled like hell in New York with that large media market. Boston's pretty damn brutal as well. Interested to see how he handles pitching up there. Sure isn't Oakland or Cincinnati or Minnesota or St. Louis, Trav.
Facts.
Yeah, Sonny! St. Don Rafaela Enjoyer is excited about Sonny Gray. I think there are a lot of reasons, Trav, to be excited about Sonny Gray. Travis Thomas, Adam Kaufman.
But are you?
I'm excited. You know what it is?
I don't sense it.
Here's I'm going to do that awful. I hate when people do this, and I'm going to do it.
Do it.
I'm going to do that. It's November 26th. And I need to know what they're going to do. I'm not going to judge them today based on what we haven't seen in spring training or opening day. What's the rotation? If this is your number 2, Craig Breslow, and we heard just a little bit there from Craig, we're going to hear more from Craig, and most especially from Lou Merloni in the program. I can't wait to get Lou's thoughts on this. Lou joins us every Wednesday on the show, giving his expectations on this offseason. And they've made other moves, but this is the first big domino of the offseason, giving up prospects and taking on, fortunately you get the $20 million back, and that helps navigate things contractually with Sonny Gray, so you're not paying him $40 million.
That's huge, Adam.
That's good. Well, it's huge in a salary cap sport where that isn't and doesn't it's not my wallet. Like, it's really not the money. I don't care about the money.
If they allocated funds for this offseason.
Yeah, if you got the $20 million, you can now put that somewhere else.
Yes.
Terrific. Then in that sense, it's huge. But we've been spending so much time talking about, and I'm not even, Scooble was never going to happen. But Joe Ryan, Hunter Green, and all these guys, it's like if Sonny Gray is the number 2 that we've been hyping up, then I am underwhelmed. If Sonny Gray slots in as your number 3 and Brian Bayo's your number 4, and there's still a shoe to drop, then hell yeah, I'm going to be excited about Sonny Gray.
Yeah.
But right now, I can't get excited.
I feel you on that. I think where I am, I'll give you 2 things. When I first heard the news, my mind immediately went to number 3 starter, which I was fine with.
Sure.
Because I'm thinking, still, some of those other names are in play. Joe Ryan, Hunter Green, you get me one of them, and then you have Sonny Gray as your 3rd.
Yep.
Watch out, World Series, here we come. Now it's feeling like this is the 2. And so this is where you have to take the leap of faith with this front office. Last offseason, no one thought Chappie was a good signing. No one thought, well, I can't say Crochet's trade. All of us were excited to get Crochet. But we had only watched him in baseball hell. We didn't know if he was a winner. We didn't know if he could be consistent, be counted on, be healthy.
Right.
And all that, check. And then Bregman, we knew was a dog, right?
Sure.
But that was your offseason. Those are 3 All-Stars. So if they evaluate a Sonny Gray and they say this can work as our number 2, as our 1-2 punch with Crochet, I have to trust that, even if, in my mind, he's really a number 3 starter, a damn good one, okay? So I'm going leap of faith there. Here's the other thing I would say to you. I'm going to throw this out there. If I were to tell you your offseason is re-signing Bregman, Sonny Gray acquiring him at the money matters.
Money matters.
And then signing Pete Alonso for the bat. I'm cool with that offseason.
You've taken a
in
step
totality.
forward. You've taken a step forward.
Yes.
I don't know how big a step forward.
That's not World Series to you? Is that ALDS and thanks for playing?
It's a playoff team to me.
Well, they already are a playoff team, Adam.
Right, but that's kind of my point. Like, to me, and it's not an exact comp, but in many ways, unless Sonny Gray, based on advanced metrics and all the things that the guys in baseball ops see that I don't see as a layman, right?
Yeah.
If they see a lot of things that actually materialize, and it's not a dude who had a 4.28 ERA last year, despite how great the strikeout to walk ratio was, and he didn't miss a start, he's an innings eater, all of these things. If we're going to get a performance that rivals what he did 2 years ago in Minnesota, where he's the Cy Young runner-up, and I don't even mean that, but an ERA that's high 2s, low 3s versus low 4s, low to mid 4s. If you're going to get something from a couple of years ago, who, by the way, again, is entering his age 36 year, he's not a spring chicken. Guys break down, and so I'm hoping he doesn't. I'm not trying to speak something negative into existence.
He's been available.
He's been around.
Yeah.
He has been around. If he can produce what they believe he is going to produce, then he is more than just offsetting, a Lucas Giolito, who obviously you have moved on from, and that would be great. And bringing back Bregman, and hopefully he can stay healthy. Even that could be considered a move forward simply because of availability.
Yes.
But you still do need, as you said, that Pete Alonso type. And you need something. Like Bayo needs to do what he did last year, and that 4-5, whoever it winds up being,
need to step up.
whether it's early, whether it's Peyton, whether Tolley, whether it's Cutter Crawford's going to be healthy, whether it's are you going to get anything out of Sandoval or Harrison? Harrison, obviously, you got in the Devers trade. I just think there are a bunch of question marks.
They could also still add arms. We should add that. They could still add some arms.
And I think they will.
And I think they will.
Which is why I'm not going to condemn something on the eve of Thanksgiving.
Here's what I'll say.
Yes.
You talked about the Twins and being runner-up in Cy Young. That Twins team, from what I remember, was an offensive juggernaut until they weren't, right? You get the postseason, the Twins are the Twins. Some of this is run support, right? Yep. So, in theory, you get a Pete Alonso or whoever, a big bat, in the middle of this lineup, these Sox should be able to give you some damn run support, and that should help that ERA, I would think.
We're going to stay on it all offseason long. But who's in season? The Boston Celtics. A big slate in the NBA tonight, Trav. And the Celtics, they tip it off against that team.
Good.
13 wins in a row
Excellent.
for the Detroit Pistons. Cade Cunningham off that win against the Pacers, tying the franchise record. Trav, 2 years ago, this team lost 14 straight, had 14 wins overall for the year. From Sleeper Celtics, 2 years after the Celtics almost ended the Pistons' losing streak, we're coming full circle to end their winning streak. And then, of course, it's the pump up there for Jaylen Brown. Jaylen dropped 41 points on the Pistons earlier this year, and they still lost by 6 points against the Pistons. Stop it.
Stop
with all your pro-tank nonsense.
No, I'm not.
Can't we be entertained? Can't we be thankful for competitive stuff?
No.
Go out there, and I'm worried about not having Nimi Keita. I can't believe you just laughed at me.
Tell me you heard what he said. Say it again. Say it one more time.
I'm worried about not having Nimi Keita. Stop with the face.
I'm sorry. Is this Shaq? Is this 92 Shaq? Am I missing something? Really? You're worried about that?
Duren,
is this Hakeem Olajuwon?
And these guys on the other side who have been animals this year. Duren especially has taken a massive leap forward. Cade obviously is playing like one of the top guards in the NBA. MVP conversation, he has been excellent. And Keita, like it or not, dude, when it comes to net rating, he's been your best player by far. Not Jaylen.
Good. I hope he continues to be the best player. You know what that means? AJ DeBonsis. That's what that means. I don't give a damn.
I love that you think that that's just some sort of guaranteed thing. The lotto balls, of course, they're going to bounce our way. Sure as hell happened with Tim Duncan.
Are you paying attention?
Happened with Kevin Durant.
Are you paying attention to the NBA? Have you seen what's going on with Chauncey and all them? It could go the Celtics' way.
Do you see how many bad teams there are in the NBA?
We'll be one of them. And then you got a chance for
bad.
the...
I mean like Washington bad, Utah bad, Brooklyn bad.
Adam, it's not the NFL.
Exactly.
Yes.
You need luck. The NFL, at least you can orchestrate your failures.
Right. But again, if you suck,
don't want to
you get the ping pong
You
ball.
wouldn't be
You're in the
entertained.
chat.
You wouldn't be entertained by Boston going out and ending the Pistons' 13-game winning streak.
Hell no.
That would be fun.
I want to congratulate the Pistons on 14, because that's exactly what's happening. Congratulations. Please beat the hell out of this team and go to the next city and lose. I need this team to continue to lose. No one else wants to tank. Joe Mazzulla damn sure ain't tanking. None of these players are tanking. Fine. Just keep doing what you do. But you're going to lose to this team because they're superior. These Pistons, by the way, I know this ain't Detroit entered the chat. These guys have a chance to go to the finals. They're legit. I thought the Magic would sort of take that leap this year. I was completely wrong. It's the Pistons. And it's all because of the guy that was on that graphic, Cade Cunningham. I mean, listen, this dude from college to the pro has made teams better. He's continuing to do it. His issue is health, but it appears as though last season he stayed healthy. This season, he's doing the same. These Pistons are for real, and they're going to beat the hell out of our Celtics, which is great news.
You're dumb. All right, Bill Belichick. We were talking about Jordan Hudson, his girlfriend yesterday. Bill's in the news. There's always, whenever something's trending, Bill or Jordan, they're around. Josina Anderson with a long tweet. I'm gonna sum it up for you.
We ain't reading all that.
I mean, you can't even see 2/3 of it. That's how long the tweet went on.
We ain't got time for this.
There are at least 2 NFL teams that are still expected to have interest in talking with Belichick, who, by the way, is 73 years old, about being the head coach in this upcoming carousel season, at least behind the scenes. I love the at least behind the scenes that has the asterisk next to it. There are 2 teams right now, and obviously others will get, will have openings. There will be other coaches that get fired. There are only 2 teams right now that will even have openings at this moment. His old Giants, who he's already released a statement saying he doesn't want to go back. He's content at UNC. Sure, Bill. And the Titans. They have fired their coaches so far. Of course, he is recommitted. That's right. Which 2 teams? Name them. Josina, who's out. Josina is spending her week first carrying water for the Sanders family, and there is no bigger fan of Shedeur Sanders in this world than Josina Anderson. Wow. And now Jordan is getting in her DMs conceivably and saying, hey, Bill could be rumored to be talking to a couple teams in this upcoming hiring cycle there in the NFL. I just, look, there are a few things in professional sports after rooting for the Red Sox, Bruins, Patriots, and Celtics in whatever order to win championships. Sure. After that, number 5 on the list for me, Trav, is I want Bill Belichick back in the NFL. I still don't see it happening.
This is cap. There ain't a team in the league that wants Bill Belichick as a head coach. Defensive coordinator? Sure. Consultant? Come on down. Head coach? No. You know how we know? Because no one hired him, bruh. He went to UNC. Guess what he's doing there? Losing. Guess what he has?
Got 1 game left, NC State.
Guess what he's not doing? His job. Everything he preached, he ain't practicing. This is cap. Don't no team want Bill.
He might have had a shot with the Falcons if Kraft didn't sabotage it, unfortunately.
But he didn't get hired.
Hey, Lou Merloni later. When we come back, Jon Lyons, more football talk, including a feast of a Thanksgiving slate. Woo!
Welcome back inside our Salem Vibe Studios. Cozy, quaint, Thanksgiving Eve style, comfortable. Here for Boston has entered the chat, and we got him, Jon Lyons, my main man, WEEI host and host of New England Football Journal. How you doing, my brother?
Doing great, man. Thanksgiving tomorrow. Got some great games on tap, and Patriots are 10-2, Travis. 10-2.
It's a nice sweater you rocking there.
Appreciate that. Like Same for you. That's the headliner here.
I'm feeling
you too, Adam.
I'm feeling a little too casual.
You too.
Yeah. I like the hoodie, but it's not a sweater.
You're you're a casual Belichick, business casual
Should
Belichick.
I cut the sleeves off?
Hey, by the way, John, before we get into it, I have a voicemail I want you to hear.
Yeah.
So someone called, and you can always, 617-790-0928, called and asked about how many games the Patriots need to kind of wrap up this division. I believe this is Roderick from Macon, Georgia. How about that? Down south in the house, showing love to the chat. Take a listen, John. We'll react on the other side.
Yes, my name is Roderick Oliver calling from Macon, Georgia. And my question is, how many more games does the Patriots need to win to clinch their division?
I'm sorry. Roderick. Everything good down? Hey, Roderick.
I love it.
You're a Patriots fan, so I think there's some tie up here somewhere. If you need to come back home or if you need to come up here, just let us know.
You feel like he's running?
Blink twice if you're in trouble. Roger, you sounded, I'm a little concerned. Go ahead, John.
I hear it the other, as a family man, I go the other way. I think everyone's sleeping in the house. He doesn't want to wake anybody, but he's got a take to give out.
Okay.
He's got something he's got to let people know.
All right. Don't want to wake the kids.
That's right.
But you got to enter the chat.
You got
to enter the chat.
Come on.
Exactly.
Everybody's welcome.
It's an interesting question because they sit at 10-2, and of course we thought they'd all win 8 or 9 games, and here they are at 10. I think you got to get to probably 12 or 13 if you're going to win this division. And the Bills are going to surge at some point. And you look at in the AFC, the 4 through 10 seeds are separated by 1 game. Like, this is a tight race. And obviously the Patriots have some distance there. But what you also don't want to do is have a 2021 situation where, you know, you're 9-4, you're looking like the 1 seed, you're looking great, and you fade at the end of the year.
Sure.
Then you kind of whimper into the playoffs like that team did, and they got blown out. And I don't think this team will get blown out in the playoffs, but you want to avoid that. So to me, I think if they can get to 12, get to 13-ish range, so really 2 or 3 more games.
You think 12, 13 to win the division?
I think
you think the Bills are live to win out?
I think you beat the Bills and you win.
I figure if you win 2 or 3 more games and one of them's against Buffalo, that should get you the division.
I don't see the Bills winning out. Which basically,
they could.
If we're talking about 13 wins, it's basically Buffalo not losing the rest. And sure, they could beat New England.
Yeah.
That wouldn't shock me. But man,
I think you look at the rest of the season, like the Giants' defensive front is going to give them some problems, but that's a game you should win. You should beat the Jets and Dolphins. So it really comes down to those other 2 games. Like, I think the Ravens game is an uphill battle for the Patriots. The Bills game will be a coin flip. It's just tough to beat a team as good as the Bills twice in 1 year.
See, I'm thinking about, I don't know about 12, but you get to 13, like, then I'm thinking about first round bye. Yeah. I'm not even thinking about the division at that point. I'm thinking about winning the conference.
So there you go, Roderick. We were a little louder than you, but we gave you your answer. Now let's get to Turkey Day tomorrow. We have, hey, I'm going to say this now. It's a bold take. This is the greatest Thanksgiving slate for football I have ever seen in my life with thine eyes, ever. Usually your 1 o'clock or your noon and your 4 o'clock games, they're decent. You know you're going to get Lions. You know you're going to get the Cowboys. And then the night game, since they've been doing that in recent years, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's a dud. We remember the Patriots not too long ago playing on Thanksgiving night. But they got all these games right. Let's jump in here. The 1 o'clock Packers at Lions. I mean, listen, GBP Daily tweets, Packers 31, Lions 26. Come on, let's ride. What do you think about that prediction?
Yeah, I think this game could be a shootout. And you look at the Packers have kind of been in the 20s most of their games recently, but this Lions defense, they're really missing Kirby Joseph. He's missed 5 games now, one of the better safeties in the league. The Giants averaged 21 yards of reception in that game. The Giants, without Malik Neighbors and Jameis Winston playing quarterback, averaged 21 yards of reception in that game the other day, put up a bunch of points. So I could see the Packers going up and down the field. And the Packers defense, it's been good, but maybe not as dominant as we thought it would be when they traded for Micah Parsons before the year. Lions are at home. I could see this game being a shootout.
You make a great point about Micah, and he's a great player. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. But remember, everyone crucified Jerry Jones for being like, yeah, he can rush the passer, but he's not great against the run, and he's got a bad back. Remember? I think we made fun of him
Jerry
on the
Jones,
show.
his whole thing was like, look, there's a lot of great numbers there for Micah Parsons, but what do we do in the playoffs when we get there? That's right.
And now you kind of look, to your point, that he's a really great player, but he has not made the defense better. I think great players make the unit better. I don't think he's done that.
And I would say they're probably better than they were a year ago, but I don't think, like, when they made that trade, a lot of people looked at it and said, wow, this team could go to the Super Bowl, right? Exciting young quarterback. They've won a bunch of double-digit games in the last 5-6 years, even with Aaron Rodgers and going to Jordan Love. And you add a guy like that, you would think, hey, this could be a Super Bowl team. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's just they haven't been quite as dominant as I thought they would be.
Adam, I don't want to take away from whatever take you're going here, but I remember yesterday talking to you, and you laid out the NFC playoff picture, and it kind of is shaping up to be one of these teams
I think
is probably going to miss.
one of these 2 teams gets in.
Yes, so this is a critical game.
Very important game, and remember, it's the same season revenge game. They played all the way back in week 1. Detroit got handled by Green Bay. Barely showed up offensively. The defense was fine enough, but it was also first game, new coordinators, both sides, and there was a lot of breaking it down. Is this a sign of things to come? Jared Goff, historically awful against pressure. Awful against pressure. Now, he is back home. I think the Lions, that was a very tough game, way tougher than it should have been against the Giants, but they're able to heroically get through, come back, win late, obviously overtime, all of that. The Packers, a lot of inconsistency with Jordan Love in that offense lately.
I don't trust him.
Josh Jacobs, if he even plays, is not 100% healthy. You know I love my trends.
Yeah.
And I found a ton of trends for all of these games we're going to talk about. But I'll just give you a couple for this game here.
Okay.
Each side, right? You can handicap this yourself, ultimately, based on these trends. The Lions, on Thanksgiving, when favored, 5-1 straight up since 2004. However, as underdogs, 0-15 straight up. Again, they are favorites. They're 2.5-point favorites. Inside a field goal, it's slim, but generally speaking, good results over the last couple of decades when they are the favorites. Now, on the other side, the Packers are underdogs for the first time this season. They are 18-6-1 against the spread as 3-point or more dogs under Matt LaFleur. 20-18 straight up overall when an underdog under LaFleur. I only bring that up because he is the only coach in the Super Bowl era with a winning record as an underdog.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Well, listen, I know this. Lions coming off an overtime game.
Yeah.
Short week.
Sure.
Dan Campbell's not the most buttoned up coach. A great motivator.
Yeah.
Not the most buttoned up coach you've ever seen. Even though I don't trust Jordan Love in these Packers, I'm taking them in this game. Chiefs at Cowboys. Boy, oh boy.
You guys mentioned Jerry Jones earlier.
Yeah.
That Quinnen Williams trade has made a huge
Yeah,
difference.
absolutely. Here's Dan Rogers' tweet. The last time the Cowboys lost to the Chiefs at home was 50 years ago. They are 5-0 in their last 5 home games against the Chiefs. Let's hope that streak continues. Great picture there, just like our great graphics here. Shout outs to Trevor, our graphics department. Sup, Trevor? Did a great job. Great job on these. I cannot pick against Patrick Mahomes. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. Big stages, big games. I told you last week they were going to beat the Colts. Everyone scoffed at me. They did just that. It was ugly. They're winning ugly. They're going to win this game ugly. Dak and the Cowboys have some confidence, have some juice going. They're
Well, they got 2 number ones.
They do.
Pickens and Lamb are playing out of their minds right now.
They're
Dak is playing great.
It's in Jared's world. Everything should come up Cowboys. And because of that, I'm going with Patrick Mahomes.
I'm actually going Cowboys here.
Okay.
And for me, it's that Quinnen Williams trade I mentioned before. In the last 2 weeks since they made that trade, they're 3rd in quarterback pressures in the NFL, 2nd in rushing yards allowed per game. That was a horrible defense earlier this year.
It was.
That trade has made a massive impact. Chiefs are going to be without starting right guard Trey Smith in this game, likely. I think that gives the Cowboys an edge. And look, the Chiefs defense has a lot of talent. It's pretty good. But you guys mentioned it. Pickens and CeeDee Lamb at home. And that was a really hard-fought game that the Chiefs had against the Colts in overtime to win. And look, I'm not saying the Cowboys had a hard-fought game too, but I think to have a game like that against the Colts, going to overtime, hard-fought, and then go on the road against a team that is playing really well, I just think a lot of things are coming up Cowboys for this game.
Okay, so we're split here. You're the swing vote.
Yeah, I'm going to thread the needle, and this is,
You going for a tie?
I'm calling for a tie.
Thread the needle.
I will throw up my turkey if we get a damn tie.
I'm inclined to believe it's hard to go against Mahomes in a situation like this. And I can give you, again, a whole bunch of numbers, but he's 19-3 straight up when facing a team on short rest, winning 13 in a row. Indoors in his career, he's 14-2. You can look at a lot of just pro Chiefs, pro Mahomes stats, not to mention, obviously, some of the Thursday short week, stuff like that. But, while I'm inclined to believe the Chiefs win, I don't want to bet the game, ultimately, because there's a part of me that looks back very recently. I look at the Eagles-Cowboys game. I didn't feel good about it when Philly got up 21-0 in that game, but I was on the Cowboys in that game, not just with the points on the money line. I thought that Dallas was going to win that game. I took the 3.5. I didn't get as aggressive with the money line. Here in this situation, we've got, a similar spread, 3 to 3.5. I think that, and this is where I say thread a needle, right? Forced to bet it. If I'm hugging the hook, I would go 3.5 on the Cowboys, but I would take 3 on the Chiefs. Okay, so that is right. A 3-point final, as we know, or as bettors know, is the most common final or differential in the NFL. Period. Historically, it is the most games are decided by 3 points on the nose.
Yeah.
So I would have to push protection there on Kansas City, but it's a tough one. And again, just to throw out some trends. Road favorites are 25-1 straight up, 20-6 against the spread on Thanksgiving, going back to 2004. That is a pro Chiefs tweet right there.
Yeah, it is.
It's again road favorites. 25-1 straight up on Thanksgiving over the last 2 decades. Dak Prescott, not as great on Thanksgiving. He's 4-3 straight up, 2-5 against the spread. That is the worst against the spread number on Thanksgiving among quarterbacks going back X number of years.
Gee.
Dak,
well, he plays all the damn time.
He does, but he generally doesn't deliver, at least ATS.
Right.
And but maybe the best way to bet this game, guys, ultimately, the over is 11-4 in Cowboys games on Thanksgiving over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And the total, bettors have paid attention. The total has been bet up. It was 47.5 at open. We're up to 52.5 right now. It's just you want to chase points. But I do ultimately, even though Patriots fan here, obviously, I want the Chiefs to lose. I think it would be great if the Chiefs lose this game. Wanted them to lose last week. Almost did against the Colts.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to believe Kansas City gets it done.
I am too. We all agree that this game's going to be tight.
Yeah.
So if the game's tight, and it comes down to a couple plays here or there.
Should be a hell of a game.
It should be.
Dallas is tough in Jerry's world.
If it's a couple plays here or there, that's a Patrick Mahomes game, not a Dak game. That's why I'm going Chiefs here. All right, the nightcap. This is a great game. I have a hot take on this one. Bengals at Ravens and the big crab cake to end the night. Mm-hmm. But the return of Joe Burrow. I believe we're hearing from Joe Burrow here. Let's take a listen.
Like a lot of kids, you grow up going through Thanksgiving, you have your meals with your family, and then you go and sit on the couch, and typically there's not a lot on except football. Back in the day, it was Lions and somebody. You go watch Matthew Stafford throw for 300, 400 some yards with Calvin Johnson and probably lose the game, but it was fun to watch. Those are memories that you have, and so I kind of always wanted to be the person out there.
Stafford's going, how the hell am I catching strays right now?
But you know what? He's so right. Here's a tweet. Bengals coach Zach Taylor expects Joe Burrow to play against the Ravens. So listen, it's funny he made that comp because that's exactly what's going to happen to him. He's going to play. He's going to go to Baltimore. He's going to put up numbers. He's got Jamar Chase. I know Higgins is out. He's got Jamar Chase. And he's going to lose, just like Matt Stafford did all those years on Thanksgiving, okay? That's exactly what's going to happen. My hot take is he shouldn't even be playing. What are they, 3-8? 4-8? Someone check the math on that.
3-8.
3-8.
Yeah.
It's over. They're going to lose to Baltimore, and it's really over. He's coming back for no reason. They should be playing for a draft pick.
Here's the thing for the Bengals. If they win out, I think they'll make the playoffs.
Oh, my God.
But that's why he's back. So I think
not winning out.
I don't think they will either. I have the Ravens in this game
as
well. And I think you mentioned the T. Higgins injury. Like, it's great to have Jamar Chase back and Burrow back, but now you don't have Higgins. Trey Hendrickson's probably not going to play again in this game. And Baltimore, they've been probably the weirdest team in the NFL this year. A team that before the year, I thought they could go to the Super Bowl. Opening night, and opening night, they're up 40-25 on the Bills in the fourth quarter. Find a way to lose that game. Lose 38-30 Monday night to the Detroit Lions. A couple weeks after that, Lamar gets hurt. Season goes downhill. But now all of a sudden they're sitting here at 6-5.
Right.
And we're like, oh wow, they could still win this division. And they get to the playoffs, and a team with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and Roquan Smith and Kyle Hamilton. And I know that defense has not played that well this year, especially since Madubuike went down. But is that a team you really want to face in the playoffs, that Baltimore? I mean, the Patriots had trouble keeping up with Justin Fields in the run game.
What's Lamar going to do?
Exactly.
Well, that defense is locked in right now, too. Look, Cincinnati, terrible against tight ends. Just ask Hunter Henry, so watch out for Mark Andrews in this game. Few trends real quick. In the wild card era, going back to 1990, 7+ point favorites, 30-5 straight up. 25-10 against the spread on Thanksgiving. That is a very pro Ravens note right there. Also, Lamar 6-1 straight up against Joe Burrow.
Wow.
And Lamar, he has started 6 career home games when the temperature is 35 degrees or less. The Ravens 6-0 straight up in those games and against the spread, winning by an average of 20 points per game. This could get ugly for Joe Burrow.
It could. Dan, what are you, a weatherman? What can't you do, Adam Kaufman?
I can read articles and regurgitate information. Just call me Aggregator Adam.
Hey, thank you to Jon Lyons, man. We appreciate you coming. Happy Thanksgiving to you too.
Always a pleasure being on here with you guys.
Coming up next, the godfather of baseball, Lou Merloni, joins us to break down all the latest with the Sonny Gray trade. I'm curious as to what Lou thinks. Boston, you're so beautiful. We'll be right back here on Boston Has Entered the Chat.
Do you view him as kind of the number 2 behind Crochet at this point, and would you consider adding to the rotation going forward?
I don't know how much sense it makes in November to put a number on a guy. I think Sonny is a very talented major league pitcher. The seasons that he's put up pretty consistently indicate that to be the case. That said, we still intend to improve our team, and exactly what that looks like, we don't know right now, but we'll continue to explore opportunities and figure out where that takes us.
We are back with you on Boston Has Entered the Chat, joined by our good friend. He's here with us every Wednesday. That is, of course, Lou Merloni.
Godfather.
Lou, it's taken some weeks, and actually I think it was a YouTube commenter, but we finally have the alliteration that I was searching for. It's Merloni, midweek mornings.
Oh.
Happy to have you here on us with a Wednesday. And
say that 3 times fast.
No,
Lou.
I barely got through it once. Lou, we heard from Craig Breslow right there. I have thoughts. I know you've got thoughts. The team goes out and gets Sonny Gray, who, on the surface, he's a good pitcher. He's a veteran. He's a 3-time All-Star. The strikeout to walk ratio is incredible. It's right there with Garrett Crochet. He's an innings eater. Didn't miss a start last year. But if this is the number 2 that we've been hyping up for weeks, when we're talking about Hunter Green or Joe Ryan or Tarek Skubal in a dream world, feels a little underwhelming. And even Breslow, resistant to put a number on it. How are we supposed to feel about this move?
Well, my initial thought was, first off, I like Sonny Gray. All right, I think he's a good pitcher. I think the game is swing and miss. He gets swing and miss. My second thought is I want to see what's next. Like, is this it? Like, I'm with you, okay? Like, when you started talking about adding a number 2, when you come out publicly and saying that, my thought was a guy like Joe Ryan, 29, 30 years old, with 2 years left, and we extend, and now we've paired somebody with Crochet for the next 4, 5, 6 years. Like, whether Hunter Green, whether it's a free agent, whether it's Sandy Alcantara, whatever it may be. Even a guy like Freddie Peralta who's got 1 year left, a little younger, maybe you extend him. Sonny Gray at 36 doesn't really fit that mold. So for me, as much as I like him, $21 million, to me, he's Walker Buehler. Now go replace Lucas Giolito. Is there another shoe to drop here? Like, does it help them with leverage, not as desperate in the trade market or in the free agent market? So I do want to see this thing play out. But if this is it, I think a lot of people are going to be, underwhelmed, I think is probably the word. Even though I still like Sonny Gray, I just was looking for something different.
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned sort of the Buehler comp right there, and obviously salary for salary, that makes sense. The other name, though, that you brought up is immediately where my head went when this move happened, which was Giolito. You've said, I don't know how many times to us, that you need to re-sign Alex Bregman. Before we're even talking about a power bat, you need to re-sign Alex Bregman just to get back to level, right? When you go out and acquire Sonny Gray, and I know it's not exactly apples to apples, but to me, you've replaced Lucas Giolito. In terms of what Giolito gave you last year,
where he was hurt.
Yeah, but for a few months stretch there from June on, before the playoffs anyway, he was excellent. He was, quality of a number 1 on some team staffs. He was putting up great numbers, better numbers than Sonny Gray put up last year.
True.
And so you lose Giolito, seemingly anyway. You've let him go. And now you bring in Sonny Gray. To me, like, okay, so you've replaced Giolito. Where's my number 2? I still don't feel like I have him.
Yeah.
So you're kind of hitting on really the real problem here, and that to me is communication. That to me is the way they talk. Think about how things would change if 5 years ago you said we're rebuilding. That's it. We're rebuilding. We're trading Mookie. We're rebuilding. We're going to restock the farm. We're going to try to be competitive for the next 4 or 5 years, but give us time. Like, that's a tough thing to say, but wouldn't that change the way people really thought about the last 3 or 4 or 5 years? So the issue is, in the game of baseball right now, it's not about surface numbers. Like, they'll look at those surface numbers and you'll say Giolito had a better year. The analytics in their room will laugh at you. They will say, look, all the numbers were sort of inflated, somewhat lucky. Even though Giolito, we saw it, I don't care. I don't care about expected numbers. I care about what I saw, and he threw the ball well. They'll say, a guy like Sonny Gray, when you look under the hood, there's swing and miss. There's the strikeouts. Look at FIP, look at expected ERA, look at all these things. He was a much better pitcher than Lucas Giolito. So here's the thing. If Sonny Gray is it, this front office, by looking at their numbers, they may view him as a number 2 and be laughing at everybody who's looking at surface numbers. But with the way they communicated to the public, we're thinking about a guy that's actually performed, not expected to perform numbers or FIP numbers. So, like, they communicate this stuff about how we're going for number 2, like going for a power bat. Yeah. What scares me is I don't know what they think the definition of that is. You know what I mean? When you ask their analytics, their interest in JT Realmuto, they may say he can hit 3rd, 4th, or 5th, but nobody in the world thinks that is the big impact bat in the middle of the order. Right. They may. So it's like, to me, it's like the way it gets communicated. I would rather them just come out and say, listen, we're going to try to add to this rotation to make it better. We're going to try to add to this lineup and make it better. So when you add a Sonny Gray, you're like, okay, well, they said they're going to add to make it better. They just did. Yeah. But he's not a number 2 to the public, and that's part of the problem. Like, not that they should be caring about the public, but their own analytics may look at Sonny Gray and say, this is exactly what we told you we were going to get. Look at these numbers. Look at this. Look under the hood. Look at this. He is that guy. Nationally, I know a lot of people think that he is that guy. It's just that locally, when you say that, we have different names in mind. So there's a communication disconnect, if you ask me.
I would agree with that, Lou. In fact, they could come out and just kind of juxtapose to what you said. They could come out and say, according to our numbers, he is the guy. So, watch us be right. But some of this, Lou, look, I completely agree with you on the communication aspect. But I said this in the first segment of the show. Don't you kind of have to have some trust here in this front office? And I say that because last offseason, they came out of this with 3 All-Stars. Chappie, Breggy, Crochet, you have to, some of this stuff is in Breslow we trust, right? So I look at this as, I did not think Sonny Gray's really a number 2 guy. When I first saw this, I thought, great number 3 dude. Now go get number 2. But if your offseason, Lou, is Sonny Gray, re-signing Breggy, and Pete Alonso, I'll just throw him out. That's a damn good offseason, is it not? Is it enough to get you to where we want to go?
Well, you guys asked me a while ago if you could only have one, would it be a number 2 or bat? And I said bat, if you remember, because I do think that's where the DNA has to change a little bit here in this ball club. You got guys coming back that will continue to have swing and miss. And, you can continue to work on that, but you really need to change the DNA. And part of that is a guy like Bregman bringing him back. So to your point, as far as in Breslow we trust, what was the initial reaction when they signed Chapman? He's old, much. He's done, he's no longer a closer. What the hell are you doing? Right. Justin Wilson was a guy that came, I think he had like a 4.8 ERA. Yep. And Carlos Narvaez wasn't even discussed when he was traded. So maybe their pitching lab, they're looking at things, laughing at people and say, relax. Well, we do think Sonny Gray is our number 2. We need to focus on bats because, as we pointed out, right now you have a shortstop. Right now you have an outfield. You love Roman Anthony, but he can't hit every inning 1 through 9. You have to put, the Angels never won with Mike Trout. So you have to put some guys around him. So focus on the bats right now. See what sort of shakes out in the pitcher's market, in the trade market. Because I still think you need to be involved in all that.
Yeah. You've said to us time and time again that reports, especially this time of year, the silly season, hot stove, all this stuff, it's noise, right? Like, show us. It doesn't really matter what's said out there by this reporter, that reporter. That in mind, some of what we've heard along the way, immediately the actions are flying in the face of that, because it was, we don't necessarily want to give up prospects and we don't want to trade for another pitcher like we traded for Crochet. We've got this money. We want to sign a guy. We want to go out and do it that way. Well, immediately, again, if they go out, they trade for a guy. They could trade for another, again, Joe Ryan, Hunter Green, someone like that. But I guess I'm sitting back now, and outside of the power bat that we hope arrives, I'm waiting to see if they are going to spend on a pitcher, because there are quality veteran pitchers that are out there that are still, I don't know, top half of the rotation guys, let's say. They aren't necessarily
not true number 2.
But not 4s and 5s either.
Sure.
Yeah. I never thought, that's why we've always talked about trading for an arm. Like, I never thought that they'd be in on a 6-year deal, 7-year deal for a start. I just, Dylan Cease, Framber Valdez, Suarez, I think a lot of people in that organization are very interested in. I think that's a mark you keep an eye on, but still it goes to 5 or 6 years. Is it a Sonny Gray and, say, like a 3-year commitment to a Michael King? Is that kind of maybe one area that it could go? I don't know if they think that they're done with starting pitching. I like to see them, get one more, but I just don't. I never thought that they would be a 6-7 year deal on a starting pitcher type of guy, especially at 30 years old. You do that with Crochet because he is so young, but at 30, I don't know. I think there's more certainty with bats as they get older as opposed to arms. So I still think that's where they were going to go. As far as spending, I think it'd still be bats.
Man, Lou, you mentioned that Crochet deal. That is a bargain. I mean, honestly, we are so fortunate to have that guy locked up on that contract as long as he is at that price, because these numbers only go up. They look more and more like phone numbers and zip codes these days. I want to ask you this. We showed a tweet earlier in the show of someone saying that they're curious to see how Sonny Gray deals with the media here, because New York didn't go well, okay? So here it is right here. Rob Kelly, thank you, Ante. Rob Kelly tweets, Sonny Gray struggled like hell in New York with that large media market. Boston's pretty damn brutal as well. Interested to see how he handles pitching up there. It sure as hell ain't Oakland, Cincy, Minnesota, or even St. Louis. So, Lou, I always go here with you to put the player hat back on. Do players give a damn about? Is that like a thing? We talk about it all the time as loudmouths in the media. Now you're one of us. But do players give a damn about New York, Boston, L.A., Philly, Chicago, etc.? Does it really matter to players?
I think some do. I do think there's, you want to find a guy that can play, in the city of Boston. When you do, you want to try to hold on to that. I think a lot of it is dealing with criticisms. I think that's why that first month is pretty telling. Like a guy like Devin Williams, started off so poorly in New York. I still think he's an elite reliever, and I'd love to have him. But I think it started off so poorly that things sort of snowball. I think Sonny Gray's time in New York, when you look at it, you hear all the reports about the pitch mix. They tried to force him into be a guy that he really wasn't, and he wasn't happy about that. You look at 2018, that bad year, he had a 3.1 ERA in the road and a 6.8 ERA at home. Sonny Gray gives up power to right center, opposite field power, and at Yankee Stadium, that's just a bad mix. At Fenway Park, that's a good mix. It's a big ballpark. So most of his issues, if you look at 2018, were at home, when he gave up 11 home runs compared to 3 on the road. So going through it once, last I checked, Aroldis Chapman's, there goes my dogs. Aroldis Chapman's last year in New York didn't go so well either, and a lot of people talked about that before he got here. So going through it once, I think will help him. And by the way, one more thing, he had to okay this, right?
Right.
The trade clause. So it's like, if I can't handle big market, if I want to live my life in St. Louis and Minnesota, I don't really want to go to Boston, right? So the big market, small market thing is interesting, because all we want are guys from Cincinnati, Miami, and Minnesota right now in free agency or trade. And none of those are big markets either.
Lou, does your dog barking means the dog approves of Sonny Gray or is a little sketched out by it?
I think the dog barking simply means that we're getting close to Christmas and Amazon's probably at my door.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Lou Merloni, once again, a regular here on the program, and of course a staple at Nest, and joins us every Wednesday morning on Boston Has Entered the Chat to talk through all things Red Sox. One thing I'm interested in getting into with Lou when we've got him, next time around is Sonny Gray wasn't on anybody's radar. Nobody was talking about Sonny Gray. So, Lou, you've got homework over your Thanksgiving break. Come up with a name that the Red Sox are going to be in on that nobody's talking about, and bring that to us next time around. In the meantime, happy Thanksgiving to you and the family. Enjoy it.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
All right, again, Lou Merloni on Merloni midweek mornings. I think that's, I
like it.
You
nailed it.
That's what I'm going to do with it anyway. I don't know if it'll stick, but it's like me trying to make the plumber happen. I didn't ask Lou about that, the plumber.
Should have asked him.
Totally. Again, homework for me next time around. Stay with us. Much more on the way. We'll get into some Bruins talk. They're a quarter of the way through the year already, but they're sitting in a playoff spot. What's it mean going forward?
Boy. Welcome back to Boston Has Entered the Chat here inside the Salem 5 studios. Always prepared here on Boston Has Entered the Chat. Okay, time to talk some hockey. I know we have turkey. I know we have football tomorrow, but we got Bruins tonight taking on the Islanders. 1-2 on that West Coast trip. Not great. Not the end of the world, though.
No.
Now you get the Isles. How do you feel about this one, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, I feel, to make a Thanksgiving comp, right? For those of you out there going to your I don't know, Friendsgivings or whatever. It might be a little bit of potluck. We need some puck luck out of the Bruins at this point in time, because so far the only guy scored the last few games is Morgan Geekie, which is great. He's atop the NHL leader, tied anyway with McKinnon for goals with 17. He's been incredible. He's a revelation. It is not a fluke. He's really spectacular, Trav. But the thing is, he can't do it alone. 6 goals on that trip out west. Geekie had 5 of them. You need some help, obviously, and they're out chancing, they're out shooting opponents. When he is out there on the ice again, great. He's making things happen. You need the depth guys to return to form, what they were doing in the early part of the year, and start to contribute in that same way. Also, please, for the love of all that is holy, take fewer penalties. The penalties have been such an issue for this team. They have taken more penalties than anybody else in the NHL by a decent margin. The penalty kill, it's been up and down. Generally, it's been good, but it's certainly had its moments of late where it's dropped back down a little bit. The power play is elite. You're talking about a top 5 power play in the NHL, and you're even missing some guys. It's great to have Elias Lindholm back. He returned in that San Jose game. Wasn't a giant factor. The power play went over in that one, but Lindholm has been a staple on the power play this year, has been a great contributor with the man advantage. You need more of that. Again, it's just, it doesn't need to be pretty. And this is the thing that whenever we're talking hockey, I will always hammer home. It doesn't need to be pretty. Sling it on from the perimeter, fire it from the top of the shot, get down low, look for rebounds, get into the dirty areas. Again, it doesn't need to be a finesse goal.
Gut it out.
Gritty, man.
Yep.
I mean, at a certain point. And to Marco Sturm, the head coach's credit, he has said he's not worried about that at all. He's not worried about the offense. The goals have been there. The goals are going to come. The goals have been there against the Islanders.
Yeah.
You've faced this team so far twice this year, once with Swayman in net, once with Korpisalo in net. You have won them both. You've put up 9 goals against this team. One of those games went to overtime, but nevertheless, 2-0, 4.5 goals per game. Let's see another one of those. Let's get another 4 or 5 goal output in this one.
It's interesting you say that, because lately, in doing my homework on the Islanders, their games have been really low scoring. Their defense has come to life. They lost to the Blues 2-1, then they won in a shootout against the Kraken 1-0 the other night. So I'm actually leaning under here.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter, obviously, the total here. If you're going over or under, just win Bruins. And that's the key here. By the way, I'm going to kind of use your take against you. Right now, these are 2 playoff teams. So in a way, we're kind of getting playoff hockey here early in November. But you always said that by the time you get to American Thanksgiving, a lot of times that playoff picture, those teams that are in that kind of are there at the end when the smoke clears. Do you feel the same way about these 2?
I think it's reasonable. Now, these are both teams that are obviously kind of on the cusp, right? Like you're not. And nobody at this point in time, at least in the East, you want to look at the West and talk about teams like Colorado, Dallas, like that's another situation altogether.
Yeah, it is.
But in the East, nobody's really running away. Like the Bruins are in the 2nd wild card spot in the Eastern Conference, which again, right now, if the season ended today, obviously it doesn't, you'd be a playoff team.
Yeah.
But the Bruins have 26 points. That is tied with Washington, who is the top wild card team.
That's right.
That is tied with Ottawa, who is the 3rd team in the Atlantic. Again, 26 points. The top team in the Atlantic Division is Tampa Bay, only 2 points ahead of you with 28. The bigger issue, and it will even itself out over time, is the Bruins have played more games than anybody else.
They need rest.
Not by a lot, but they've played 24, everyone beneath you or ahead of you in the standings or even with you in the standings, but beneath you in terms of games played is at 22 or 23. And so, these, again, it's going to catch up. Bruins are going to have a little bit more rest time worked in. Even now, the schedule is starting to slow down a little bit compared to what it was in that first month or so of the season. And so we'll see what these other teams do with those opportunities.
Yeah.
If you play the game and you don't get the 2 points, it doesn't matter, obviously.
Sure.
So the Bruins got to hope for a little bit of success to that end, to where outcomes on the other side don't go their way. But look, Bruins, Islanders, like you said, they're both right there in playoff positions as we exist
even
today.
Teams, and very even teams.
Very even teams, and so we should get another relatively even game.
I like the Bruins. I'm on the under. I think it's going to be a low scoring, kind of what you said, a gritty game, but lower scoring. I think the Bruins win this, and I'll tell you this. I'm looking at the same standings you are when you brought this up. There are teams at the bottom of the barrel that are going to come up, and we all know it. Where the Leafs are, it's ridiculous. We know the Rangers. We know the Panthers are going to eventually figure it out.
Sure.
So there are some teams at the bottom right now,
Avs?
quite literally, of the Eastern Conference that are coming. So I have a sense of urgency for all these games, because if you're going to be a playoff team, which you're in position now to be, you better keep pace with where you're at, because these teams are coming. And then we know the top-heavy teams every year are there. The Canes are there. Lightning are there. We get they're not going anywhere. But these teams on the bottom are coming eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say you should have a sense of urgency anytime when you are a team like the Bruins.
Yes.
And I don't say that as a slight. I say that as being realistic about who and what you are and where you are.
That's right.
In your rebuild. Right now, and this is not Patriots-like, we're the top team in the entire sport, but you are ahead of schedule the way that you are performing out there on the ice. It is, Trav, we didn't, stomp on the grave or anything like that, but coming into the year, previewing this team and what to look for in the season, if we're to pay attention to Vegas, I do, you do, Vegas had this team near the bottom of the entire NHL.
Sure did.
Bottom 5 team in the whole league.
Sure did.
Certainly nobody was talking about playoffs, let alone flirting with a division lead or something like that. So this team, thank you, Jim Mora, is doing well right now.
Yes.
It needs to have that pressure, feel that urgency to continue to play well, because nothing is going to be handed to this team. But in terms of I think ESPN at the quarter mark of the season gave the Bruins a B+.
Any problem with that?
No, it's very appropriate.
All right.
I mean, if nothing else, give them a little bit more credit
That's
for
where
they are.
I'm saying, why not an A? And I don't give a damn if you put a minus behind it. It's still an A. From where I come from, it was lucky to get an A, okay? So B+, I looked at that, and if I'm grading the Bruins at this first quarter mark, I'm giving them an A because of what you said. Many of us were already throwing dirt on this team before we came in. Not all of us.
No.
But many of us were. And so to see where they're at now, I think they deserve an A. Maybe not an A+, but an A nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, I'll B+, A-. I'm fine with.
Right.
I'm good with that.
All right. Turkey and stuffing tomorrow, my friend. But first, Nessa Nation, 9 a.m. always. Follow us there. We're done here on Nessa, but follow us on Nessa Nation. Peace.
I'm hungry.